Yeah, hi all, good morning, good afternoon. Can you hear me clearly? Hello. If yes, can you type in the chat box? Yes. Yep. So- Yep. So my voice is clear. That's good. So we'll start this session in next 5 minutes. Okay. So the trainer mentor will join. So Dr. Swapnil Saurav will join in 5 minutes, and then we'll start the session. So we'll continue wherever we left yesterday. And in case of any question, any doubts, then you can clarify in today's session. So you can list down your questions, you can list down your doubts, and then we can discuss in detail in today's sessions. So during the session and at the end of the sessions, we will dedicate this 5 to 10 minute discussions about your doubts and any additional thing that you want to know about the Python, about the specific topics or about the career guidance, anything. Yeah. Okay. So any feedback for a study session. So if anybody wants to talk, then I can allow you. You can raise your hand, so I can allow you to talk. I can unmute you. Then you can talk. So any feedback for yesterday sessions? Anybody wants to share any feedback? How was the session? How was the content cover in the sessions? Yeah, I'll unmute. Yeah, hi Salu. So I have allowed you to unmute yourself. You can
Yeah,
unmute.
hi, sir.
I
Yeah,
think
hi,
you can
sir.
also share your video as well, so we can have a better interaction. Yeah.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Is it possible for you
Thank
to
you so
share
much.
your video as well?
Yeah, I actually have a question with regards to this basic training. Right after this training, is there like a certificate that you provided to us, sending through email, something like that?
Yeah, definitely. So we will be providing the certificate after this training, and also like as we discussed yesterday, we will be conducting one basic test. Okay, so the test link will be shared end of today's sessions, and then you have to appear in the test. So the test is majorly based on the basic topic that we have just covered in the day one session, and then we are going to cover in day two session. So yeah, definitely we'll be getting a certificate for this boot camp, the 2 day boot camp that we are conducting. Any other question? Any other feedback from anyone? Anybody wants to share your feedback about yesterday sessions, about mentor, about the topic, about the content? So you can raise your hand. I'll unmute you. Then you can also talk. Yeah. Yeah, I can see some details in a chat that is where the Priya Sharma. So the previous session was fabulous. Manjunath about the string run processes. Yeah, definitely we'll talk about it as well. Manjunath. Yeah. So Priya, you want to talk anything? I can unmute you, so you can raise your hand. I can unmute you. You can also say something about the sessions as well. Hello, Priya. Okay, so we can see that still participants are joining in. So we'll give them another 5 minutes, and then we'll start the session. So we can see like maximum participants are still joining in. So after today's sessions, we will be sharing two form. Okay, so one, like as I mentioned, the test form. So Python test form will be shared where you'll find around 10 multi uh, choice questions, okay, related to Python. And also the feedback form that we'll be sharing, we will share after this session. So that is again important for us to provide your feedback. And accordingly, we can do changes in the upcoming feedbacks. So related to the content, related to the trainer, related to the timing, related to the pace, everything. And that is very important for us. So whenever we share any link in a group for the feedback or for a test, try to complete that one as well. Yeah. So let me share. Okay, so we'll start this session soon. Mentor is joining in few minutes. Uh, Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Hello.
Yeah, hi, sir. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah, I was not able to unmute. I was here, but not
Okay.
able to unmute myself. Okay. Um, Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Okay, so we ready to dive in? Okay, so let's get started. Um, so you already know the topics for today, right? We are going to do first list. Okay. I mean, we are going to do the collections, right? So so my screen is visible, right, sir? Santosh sir?
Yes, your screen visible, sir. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, guys, we'll get started. So as sir has said, okay, we will be doing first data structure, right? So let me write down for my knowledge. So data structures. Then we are going to do functions. Okay. Then we will learn how to do file handling. Okay. And the last topic is error handling. Okay. So these are the things that we are going to do today. So, okay. So let's get started. Okay. We'll start with data structures. Okay. Now, yesterday we discussed about basic data types, isn't it? And if you remember, what we said is basic data types are your integer, float, string, boolean, and complex, right? So these are your basic data types. What does basic data types mean? Basic means that they can hold, okay, they can hold only one value in a variable. Okay, so example that we did yesterday, if you remember, we could only store one value, okay, in a variable. So when we say a equal to, we said 5, right? Or a equal to, say hello, right? We only one value. Now, if you want to store more than one value, right, in the same variable, okay. So let's say you have list of students, right? So when you have a list of students, you might have 50, 100, 200, 500 students. You want to store, okay, list of all the students, okay, together in one variable, right? You can't have 500 variables, okay? Managing 500 variables is difficult. Point one. Point two is you also don't know, right, that how many variables will be there. Sometimes it could be 500, sometimes it could be 50, sometimes it could be 200, right? So the number of values also changes, and handling large variable is difficult. That's where we use data structures. Okay. So in Python, there are two important data structure. One is list and other is dictionary. Okay. There are a few other stuff, but all the other stuff that you have, all the other data structures that you have are built on list and dictionary itself. There are different forms of list and dictionary with some restrictions. Okay. Like for example, you have tuple. Tuple is based on list, just that you can't perform addition, right? So similarly, okay, those are other data structures, but at the basic level, these are the two data structures that are there in Python and that we need to be aware of. All right. So how do you handle it, right? How do you handle such values, multiple values with single variable? Okay, so let's see an example here of list. Okay, so this is the first one we are going to do. We call this as list. Now in list, okay, I can declare a value called, let's say, name. Okay, and here I want to store multiple values. Okay, I need to store multiple values. So when you are storing multiple values, you need to declare it with square bracket. Okay, square bracket indicates to Python that we are going to use a list. We're going to use a list. Okay, so let's see what the type of this, because yesterday we saw how to get the data type of integer float, isn't it? So does it work here? Let's see. So I'm going to say data type here is, and then I say type of names. Okay, this is the file, right? Let's run this file now. So see here, it says list, correct? But what is a list? So of course, okay, list means that, that I need to store multiple values. I want to store multiple values in this variable. Okay. Okay. Um, okay. But what are the properties of this? right? So let's say this. Properties of list. First property, okay, we now know how to declare list, right? We know how to declare list using square bracket, right? So properties is that list can store, okay, any number of values. And these are called as ordered mutable collection. What do you mean by ordered and mutable? Okay, so let's see them now. Okay, um, okay, so you have here names. Okay, now let me add some names here to this. I want to add, let's say, names like maybe Abraham, let's say. Okay, let's say, okay, Bethany, let's say, let's say, let's say, okay, let me add one more. Okay. Um, okay, so let's say these are the names that I've added here. Okay, names, right? So it doesn't have to be same, right? It can be different also. So now if I print names, okay, and I names, right? So all these names have been printed together. Great. But I want to access just one name here. I don't want to access all the names. I just want to access one name. So remember here, okay, we call it as ordered collection, right? So ordered means these values that you add to the list are in a specific order. They come with its own order. That's why we say ordered. It's already ordered. It's already present in specific order, specific format. What is that order? Order is from 0 to n minus 1. Order, or what we actually call this as index, okay, starts with 0, goes all the way, okay, so it's like 0, 1, 2, all the way up to length minus 1, t h minus 1. Okay, so length means number of values that you have in this. So here I have 5 values. Okay, I can print the length. Okay, so we have something called as len. Okay, so I can say here number of names in the list equal to, you have len of names. Okay, so when you perform len of names and you run it, okay, you see you get 5. It shows that we have got 5 values in this list. Okay. Now I said the index starts from 0 to length minus 1. That means the Abraham index is 0. Bethany's index is 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's what it means. Okay. Now I want to access one member. I don't want to access all the values. I want to access one member. Since it has index, each of these have index, automatically these indexes are created. Okay. When you declare them as list, okay, automatically these index are created. You don't have to worry about the index, how to assign the index. Automatically they are created. So if I need to print Abraham, I'll simply say names square bracket 0. Now, this square bracket is different than the square bracket that we have used here. The square bracket in 19 and square bracket in line number 22, they indicate different stuff. Okay, it's a coincidence that we are using both the uses today. We are doing both the uses today, but they are different. Line number 19, we are talking about way of declaring a list. In line number 19, we're talking about declaring a list. In line number 22, we are talking about accessing a list. Okay. Now, list is declared using square bracket, and accessing is also declared using, or accessing is also done using square bracket, right? But the accessing not only for list, but for all the other collections, all the other data structure. In fact, even strings are also indexed using curly bracket. Okay, are also indexed using curly bracket. Okay, so when I run this, okay, you get Abraham. So this is indexing. This is not list. I'm using square bracket not because of it's a list, but because of indexing. Okay. So if you want one, you can say here. If I want third name, since the index starts from 0, third name will have index of 2. So I will say 2 here. Okay. So you get third name. All right. Okay. Now, okay, so this is about accessing one member. Now, if I want to access two members, right? I want to access, let's say, C and D. So if I want to access C and D, just pay a little more attention here. Okay, first I want to get C, right? That third member. So I'll use 2, correct? And up to what? I want up to index 3. I want C and D, isn't it? So C indicated by index 2 and D will be indicated by index 3. So I need up to 2 and 3. Okay. So you don't give 3, but you give one more than 3. You give one more than 3. Got it? You give one more than 3, 4. Now when I run it, you get 2 values. If I need B, C, D, so I'll say 1, 1, 2, 3 I need. So starting is including, okay? Starting is same value, but ending is one more than what you need. Okay, D I need, so it has to be 4. Now you get 1, 2, 4. Okay, indexing also happens backward. Okay. All good so far? Okay. So now if you look at the other indexing, okay, we call it as backward indexing. Okay. So far, what we discussed was all forward indexing. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. Backward indexing indicates that indexing starts from right to left. So E also has its own index 1, but since you are doing backward, it is -1. So Elon has two indices. One is your 4, which is left to right, and second is your index -1, okay, which is -1. So if I want name same here, 0, A, Abraham, I can say here names of -5. 0 and -5. See, you get same. I want C, Chanchal, so I'll put names here. And here I can say -1, -2, -3. So -3 will give me name. Okay, I hope it's clear, okay, because indexing is something that you'll be using very often from now onwards, okay, very common that you'll be using indexing. And indexing is common whether you use list or any other, complex data type, okay. Complex data type means which has more than one value, obviously, okay. So if you talk about, let's say, string, so if I say, okay, n1 equal to, let's say, Messi, and I want just E out of Messi, I'll say print n1 of 1. n1 of 1 will give me E, right? So here this is string because this is because we have used quotation. So this is string because we have used quotation. You don't have square bracket here. Definitely it's not a list. It is a string, right? We have seen yesterday. So even if you have to pick value out of string, you have to use indexing. And indexing is exactly same the way we did it in list. You see, we use square bracket. Okay, so that's how we use indexing. No matter whether you're using list or um, string, or let's say you're using any other format. Okay. Now, what are different methods that we have in data structure? Okay. So, okay, let's do one thing. Let's print the names that we have here. So I'm going to say one dot names equal to names. Okay. And when you run it, obviously you have all these values, right? Now let's perform certain action and see what impact it has on the list. So now I want to add one more value to this. I want to add one more value to list. Okay. So I'll say here names dot append. Okay. The moment you say dot, all the good IDs, including PyCharm, Jupyter, whatever you're using, it will give you all the options, what we call as them methods. Okay. So yesterday we discussed about functions. Okay. Okay. Functions, what we said they are inbuilt types, and they have a predefined meaning. Okay. Now, what you see here, these are all, it's indicated with M there, right? They're called methods. So methods and functions are exactly same, but they're called different because there has to be some difference, right? The only difference is that these methods belong to certain, they are not globally available. You can't use it every time, everywhere. They're associated with certain values. Or actually, we call them as class, okay, which is not in scope for our discussion, okay. But in full Python class, we'll probably come across, class and objects. But remember this, okay, these are associated with a special, given types. So whenever you use list, okay, whenever you use list, all these methods will be available to you. All these methods will be available to you. What are these methods? Okay, append, sort, pop, copy, count, clear, right? Let's see some of these. Append is used to append to an existing list. So if I have to add, let's say, Faisal to this list, names list. So I said append, and now I'm going to copy this and paste it here. I'll call this as 2 just to differentiate from multiple prints that we are doing here. Now you see, append added at the end. Sorry. All right. You can also use, sorry, names dot. You can also use, you have insert. You can also use insert, but insert needs two values. Okay, if you see the hint here, it says self, comma, index and object. Self indicates that these are methods. Okay, so whenever you see self, those are methods. Okay, we don't have to give values for self. Self only indicates that these are methods. Okay, but apart from that, you see you have index and object. Okay, so first we need to give the index and then the object. Object is the value that you want to add. An index is the position where you want to add. So append did not ask for position because append will add at the end. Append's job is to add the value at the end. Okay. In insert will need the position. You need to tell which position you want to add. Okay. So I want to add, let's say after C before D. I want to add after C before D. So what is the position after C? C, this is 2, right? So I'll give 4 here. No, 3 here, sorry. Fourth position means index 3, isn't it? And now let's say I add, I give the name that I want to add. Which name should I add? Let's say I add G here. Now when I try to print this, and again, I'll add 3 here. So see, G came here and everything else after that got pushed by a step. Okay, all the others got pushed by a step. Make sense? So this is how you add values. Okay, so you can add at a specific position or at the end. Now, how do you remove the values from here? Okay, so if I want to remove a value, I'll say names dot. Okay, you have something called as remove and pop. So pop and remove, these are two functions that you can use. Now, what's the difference between pop and remove? You see the hint here. Remove takes value. So if I know which value to remove, okay, irrespective of the position, I want to remove Gauri wherever that name is in the list. I will use value. Pop, if you see, uses index. So you want to remove third name, irrespective of what name it is. Then we use pop. So I'm going to remove, say, -1. -1 means last name to be removed. And I say here 4. Okay. And let's run it. You see, Faisal is removed. Okay, I want to remove one more name. So I'll say names dot remove. Okay, here I have to give name, right? So I give this name. And now when you run it, gone, right? Okay. We also used one more word here called, that they are mutable, right? Mutable. What does mutable mean? Okay. Mutable means values here are mutable. It's not the case, in, let's say, there are some data structure which are immutable, which cannot be mutable, and there are some which are mutable. So the list is mutable. Dictionaries that we're going to do now is also mutable, but things like your strings are not mutable, right? So let's say if I have a name here, okay, I'll say n2 equal to, let's say, I put a name here, Sachin, let's say. Okay. Now I want to make A as P. So N2 of 1. N2 of 1, A equal to P. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to change the spelling. I'm trying to make Sachin as SP Chin, right? But you cannot do in case of string. String does not support item assignment. String does not support item assignment. Whereas list does support item assignment. And that's why we say list. Okay. Lists are mutable, whereas strings are not. So now if I have a list here, okay, this is the list, right? Names. Okay. Now I'll say names of 1. Okay. That means I'm trying to change second value. 2, let's say, Sachin, let's say. Now when you try to print it, okay, and you run it, you see, whatever was at position 1. So what was at position 1? Chanchal, C was at position 1. Index 1 is now replaced with what we gave. It didn't work in string, but it worked in list. So that's why we say lists are mutable, but strings are not. Okay. And as you have seen, there are a lot of other functions which you can try and explore yourself. Okay. We'll now move on to our second data structure, which is dictionary. Okay. Now, dictionary, uh, I think, yeah, I'll probably move all these to this part and we continue to build our examples here. Okay. So dictionary. Now, dictionary, okay, does not have it's not ordered. Okay. It does not have its own index. It does not have its own index. It borrows the index. It borrows the index from user. We have to give the index. So we say dictionaries are key value pair, key colon value pair. Okay. So, okay, let's say if I declare a dictionary here, D1. But before that, how do we declare a dictionary? Okay. We declare a dictionary using curly bracket or flower bracket. I can say print, okay, print type of D1. So when you do type of D1 and when you run it, you see it is dictionary. Okay. DICT stands for dictionary. So this is how we know that it is a dictionary. Okay. Okay. Now, how do we add a value? Okay. So we add a value using curly bracket. Let me create something called as temp dictionary. Or let's do an example. Let's take an example. Okay. Okay. Let's do an, let's take a problem statement. Okay. So I'll say, write a program. Okay. WAP, write a program to accept names and marks of 5 students in 5 subjects. Okay, so I need to accept marks for 5 students, and each of the student has marks in have 5 subjects. So we need to accept marks in 5 subjects, kind of 5 into 5, 25. Okay, we'll be using loops that we learned yesterday. We will be using list here. We will store the marks of each student as a list, and the entire data will be as a dictionary. So it will look something like this, dictionary, and then you have student 1. Okay, so student, it will be a string, so something like student 1. Okay, colon, right? Key colon value. Dictionary is given by key colon value. So dictionary will have key followed by the value. So key is student 1, and value will be the marks in the subject. Let's say, something like this. Now, Second value will be followed by comma. Okay. And here too, you will have, okay, key colon value. So key colon value. I'll make it as student 2. Right? And so on, right? We need 5 more. So, we'll have to add 3 more. We'll do so on. So let's see how we do it. So I'm going to run a for loop first. This for loop is going to run 5 times, asking you to enter the name of the student, right? So I'm going to say for get name or something like that. For in get name in range 5. I need to run 5 times, so range will run 5 times. Range will generate numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 0 to 4, 5 numbers it will generate. So I'm going to say here, okay, I'll declare this master record, okay? So this master record, okay, master record is an empty dictionary, right? So we'll create a temporary dictionary and we'll keep on adding to the master record. Okay, awesome. Okay, so this will run 5 times. So here I need to, okay, here I'm going to say name equal to, remember, we used input to get the value, and then we have to give a hint, enter name of the student. Now, the name of the student is going to be a string itself, so we don't have to do conversion to any specific data type, okay? So I'm not converting into integer or even string because by default, it's going to be string only. So I got the name here. Now we need to get the marks, right? So marks, we will use list to get the marks. So I'm going to create another list, empty list marks, and using append, I'm going to fill in the value in marks. Because we have marks in 5 subject, we need to run another loop now. So I'm going to say for, I'll say sub in range 5, right? 5 subjects. And here I'm going to say M1 or marks 1, something equal to here. Okay, I need to convert because marks cannot be string. It has to be converted into either integer or float. I'm converting into integer just to keep it simple. Enter marks. Now, let's say you might have, you want to have, okay, you want to declare the names of the student, subjects, let's say. So let's say, okay, we have another list called subjects, okay, and the subject, we know the first subject is, let's say, English. Second subject is, let's say, Arabic. Third, let's say, is French. Okay, fourth, let's say, is Chinese. And fifth, let's say, is Hindi. So let's say we have marks in 5 subjects. These are the 5 subjects. So I'm going to say enter marks in, okay, something subject. Okay, now I'm going to use curly bracket here. Now this curly bracket is not same as the dictionary curly bracket. Okay, here this is used within quotation to indicate that I need to replace something here. I want to put something here. I want to put a variable here. Which variable I want? I want to put subjects. Okay, and subjects of what? Subjects of sub. So it's when sub is 0, it will pull English. If sub is 1, it'll pull Arabic. If sub is 2, it'll pull French. And to indicate that now if I run it, it will be treated as a single string. But to indicate that this is not a string, but this is where I want to replace the string with an existing value from a variable, I'll be using F to format it. Okay, so F indicates that you are using some kind of formatting here. So I'm using a formatting, obviously. I'm using a formatting to get the variable value here. Okay. So you get this F here to indicate that I need to replace the values from a variable. So subjects and the sub will be coming from here. So I'll be able to pull each value from the list and put it here. Okay, so I get M1, great. Now I need to save it in the list to, to make it list, right? So I'm building this list now. So marks dot append. Okay, and I add M1. Great, done. So this will run 5 times and you get a list of marks. So when I can come out of this loop, the job of this loop is done. But auto loop, still we have to perform some more thing, right? The last step that we need to perform here is that this marks and the name has to get into master record. So I'll take master record dot update. So update is the method in dictionary that updates another dictionary to the existing dictionary. So when I say master record dot update, I am updating to the master record. So I'm going to use curly bracket here and say name colon marks. Curly bracket to indicate that I'm building a dictionary and I'm adding name here, okay, to get this name and marks here to get this entire list of marks. End of this loop, hopefully, we'll have a dictionary with names of 5 students and marks in 5 subjects. Okay, and when I print it, I can say here are the list of students with their marks in 5 subjects. All good so far, guys? Of course, okay, programs like this will take effort to understand, right? You need to put more time into it. Yes or no, right? So with more practice, you will be able to create much better programs than what I'm doing. Okay, just focus on the process, focus on the steps. Before I run this, I also want to display the result. Okay, let's add that part also. Display the data on the screen. Okay, so this master record has your names and marks. So I need to go through this and display the result, right? So I'm going to say print. Here are the students names and marks, right? So because this is a master list, I need to use a for loop to iterate through this. I'm going to say for I in, okay. Now you see, I'm iterating through a dictionary. So there are 3 ways to iterate through a dictionary. One way is you access only the key of the dictionary. Second way is you access only the values from the dictionary. Third way is you access both key as well as value. We call them as items. So first I'll show you that we only will access key, and using key we'll be able to print key as well as value. Okay. So here I'll do something like this. I'll say print, okay, students or name. I'll put it here like name. And, I'll just give some space and say marks. Okay. So that marks would appear under marks section. So for I in, okay, master record dot items. Okay, no, we are looking only at keys, right? So we'll say keys. So this will give us all the keys. This will give us first key, second key, third key. Remember, key here are names, right? So I need to print. I'll use same F format. So first I need to print the name. So name is nothing but I itself, because I will be the key here, right? I followed by the marks, right? So I followed by marks. Okay, so marks is what? Master record of I, because I is the key. So this is indexing. We discussed indexing while doing list and strings, isn't it? So indexing can be done on dictionary also if you know the key. If you know the key, you can perform. Okay. So, okay. So this is what I'm doing here. And I'll also try to do it using key and value. Okay. I'll copy and paste it here again. We might have any error or something. We'll try to fix it if we get it. And here I'm going to say I comma j, and here I'll say items. So when I say items, it gives us both key as well as value. It gives us both key as well as value. Okay. So I is the key, which is name. And here, instead of printing, okay, master record of I can say J, because J will have the values here. Okay, hopefully we are done. Let's run it. Okay, so enter name of the student. First name we are entering. Okay, marks in English, right? Name of the student. Third student. Okay, your fourth student now. Okay, so let's enter some marks. Last one. Okay, so you see this? So this is how the final dictionary is created. And here you have names and marks. Names, and these are the marks. Name, and these are the marks of all the student. Okay, so using this example, we tried to use everything together, dictionary, list, and loops together. Okay, you can iterate through a dictionary using either keys or either values or both key and value together. Awesome. Any questions so far? Shall we move ahead to the next topic? Okay, looks like we can move ahead. Okay, so next topic that we are going to talk about today is your functions. Okay, your attention is required. We have limited time, right? Thanks, Sumera. So you're talking about functions now, right? So we used a lot of functions yesterday. We used functions like int, we used int, we use input, Okay, we started with print itself. That's another function, right? Today we used len apart from all the other functions. So these functions that we used so far are all inbuilt functions. That means they have been created by the developers of Python, right? The developers of Python have already created these functions and we can use it. But they also gave us the capability to create our own function. You feel that something is required and you don't have access to, right? Or it would be better if you can create a function about it. You can write your own function. But what is a function, right? See, in basic term, function is a collection of programs, collection of lines of program. Okay. Okay. If you have, let's say, 5 important questions that you need to ask everyone. Let's say you are doing some research and you need to ask 5 questions to, to all the subjects that you have. So instead of typing those 5 questions again and again and again, you can put them in a function and call the function instead. So when you call the function automatically call the files or the lines of code that you have written under the function. Okay, so we'll see that. So I just said, okay, in crude way, function is just a collection of lines of code. Okay, so let's say I create a function here. So how do you create a function? Okay, we are going to learn to create our own. We call it as user defined functions. Means we are defining what these functions are supposed to do. Okay, we will define the nature and the working of these functions. Okay, so I'm going to define a function and you define the function using keyword called def. Okay, so def, and I'm going to say my fun one. Okay, and you give simple bracket open and close. And inside this, you can define the lines of code that you want. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to put 5 questions. Print, what's your name? Okay. What's your age? What's your daily consumption, right? I need to have 5 values. So let me put 5 questions, random 5 questions. Let's say this guy wants to do some research on milk, okay? And that's why these questions are related to milk, okay? Just a random thought, nothing else. Okay, we are good. So let's say this is how you define. Okay, so you define a function name with define keyword followed by the name that we can give it to the function. Now, my fun one is a function which has some properties, and those 5 questions are the properties of my fun one. Now, when I run this program will not execute. Okay. Creating function doesn't mean that function will have to run. It's only when you call them, it gets executed. Okay. It's only when you call them, it gets executed. Okay. So let's say I want to call this function. How do I call this function? So this is function definition. Okay. Function definition doesn't, okay, even if you make mistake here, Python will not execute. It's like this. Okay. If I give you something, I say, okay, this is not for you, then you would not even bother to know what am I doing, isn't it? If it's not for you, it's not for you. So my fun one is not for Python until unless you call it. Only when you call this function, Python will get excited to know, oh, what is it about? So def my function, you put something here and you leave it. Okay. Now I need to call it. Calling, okay, so let me put here. This is how you define a function. Okay. Calling has to be done after you define. Function already defined. So I'm going to say my fun1 and you run it. You see, these questions are called now. These questions are called now. So this is simple usage of function. You create a function, you add some logic to it. So whenever you are calling that function, the entire logic is executed. The purpose here is that you reduce the code. We are reusing the code. Now, if I have to use it at one place, then it doesn't make sense to create a function and call it. But if I have to use it multiple times, it makes sense to write a function and call it. So you don't have to repeat the code. Okay, repeating the code has a lot of problems. One problem is, of course, time consuming. But the bigger problem than that is that if you have to fix anything, let's say, okay, let's remove daily consumption. Instead, you add something else. So wherever you have used, everywhere you have to go and make those changes, and you lose track sometimes where all you are using it. So programming logic says you always have one version of code. If you need to use it, you can call that code anywhere that you want to use, and it gets called and it can be used. But don't repeat the code. We are trying to avoid repetition. We are reusing it. Great. So this is a simple function. Sometimes, let's say we don't have to print all these. Instead, we have to print just one of these function. Okay. Then how do we do that? Let's say I copied this and I call this as my fun2. You can't have two functions with the same name. Okay. It has to be, okay, different names here. So now I'm creating my fun2. And what I'll do is I'll write off, questions, and I'll put a list here, and I'll put all these questions in the list. And based on user's choice, we will call these questions. Not all questions will be called. Okay, so I want user to tell me which question number you want to call. And based on the question number, specific questions would be called. Let's see. Okay, so we have a list with 5 questions. Now, okay, sometimes, okay, user might say, I want question number 1. Some user might say, I want question number 2. Some users, I want question number 3. Then how do you decide which questions to call? So we write the same function and we will pass a value. We'll pass a question number to this function. Okay, so let's check this here. So I'll do here, okay, I'm going to say here, okay, question NO equal to input, enter the question number you want to call. Okay, now again, let's see this. Okay, if I say question number 1, index should be 0, isn't it? If question number 2, index should be 1. Okay, so this is question number. Now I want to pass this question number to this fun2. Okay, I don't want to call everything. I want special number to be called. So I'll call this my fun2. Okay, I'll call this my fun2, and to this I will pass QNO. Question number, the question number that you want to pass. Now again, see, this is string, so I need to convert into integer. So I convert this into integer. So now you're passing question number to my fun2. So you're passing question number to my fun2, great. But my fun2 should also get the question number, isn't it? Okay. So we say here that we need to provide an input parameter. Okay. We need to provide a parameter here, Q and O, right? And they need not be same. Okay. If you can keep same also, not a problem. Okay. But need not be same. So I'm not putting same just purposely to indicate that they need not be same. Now it makes sense. I'm saying, okay, my func2, I'm going to give you question, I'm going to give you 2. Send me question number 2. Right? So here, first you need to check that question number should not be greater than the length of the list and also less than 1, right? Like 0, 1, -1 should not be there. So I'll check the condition. If QNO is less than 1, if QNO is less than 1 or right, okay, QNO is greater than len of questions. That means if you give like less than 1 means 0, right? If I give question number 0, obviously I don't have question number 0 here or -1. Okay. Or if I say question number 6, I have only 5 questions in the list. And I'm going to say, give me question number 6. You don't have question number 6, isn't it? If question number is less than 1 or it is more than the length, you will say print, sorry, invalid question number. Right? Otherwise, else, okay, you say here, okay. Now, else means question number is valid, right? Question number is valid. We need to print a specific question. So what I'll do here, first I will print the question number. So I'll say QNO, comma, maybe say equal to or hyphen, whatever you want to put, hyphen here, then questions, square bracket, okay. QNO, should I give QNO? No, okay, index is 1 less, right? So QNO -1. So question of Q -1. So question is a list. List of Q -1 is going to be, if you enter 5, it's going to be 4, right? So fifth question should be displayed. Awesome. Let's see if this works or not. Enter the question number you want to call. I want to perform, let's say, this daily consumption. So I'll say question number 3. What's your daily consumption of milk? Right? Now you're able to control the value inside the function by passing the right parameter, passing the right argument. With me, everyone? Great. So, okay. So this is one way of passing the value to the function. Okay. What we just did is we pass the value to the function. Now, if you want to get the value from the function, okay, I don't want function to print it for me. Okay. Instead, I want the function to return me the question, and I might use it to do something else. Okay. Yes, I might use it to print the same question or do it something else. So I need to be able to, okay, work based on what I want to do, not what function wants to do. So in such case, I'll say, okay, function, you just return me the value and let me see how I can do it. Okay. So this is called as returning value from a function. We're going to learn to return a value from a function. We're going to learn to return value from a function. So let's see this. Okay. I'm going to write same function here. And I'll call this as my fun2. I call this as my fun2. But instead of printing here, okay, I'll return -1. Return -1. Okay, so if you go inside this, it will return -1 to you, indicating that something is wrong. Since we're returning a string, let me put this -1 also in string. So that when user gets the value, they don't have to check it whether it is string or integer. Okay, by default, we know it's going to be string. And here I'm going to say return questions of q minus 1. So the value is being passed to the main from where we are calling this function. Okay, from where you call the function is main. Okay, and what is getting called is the required function here. All right. Now let's see this. How this works. Okay. Okay, we'll take same question number and we'll do it. So here, when I call my fun2 and I pass q number, right? In this case, our function is returning some value, isn't it? Our function is returning some value, which we need to take it, handle it properly. Okay. So I'm going to say here, say q text, question text equal to this. Okay. If q text equal to -1, if q text equal to -1, print invalid question. Else, if it is not -1, then else I'll say print question that should be asked here is colon, comma, q text. That is it. Now, when you run it, so enter the question number that you want to call. Okay, question number 2, I say. Okay, so this is from your fun2 and this is from your fun3. Question that should be asked here is, what's your question? So you can have a function without input parameter or return value. You can have a function with only return value and no input parameter. You can have a function with only return value, of course, return value is there. Okay, you can have function with only input parameter and no input parameter. Or you can have a function with both input parameter and return value. Okay. Cool so far? Now with this, okay, let's say when you are dealing with multiple functions, right? Like these. Let's say I've developed these functions and you want to reuse it. Okay. Then why should you, rewrite it? Okay? You can directly use my functions, isn't it? So when you have multiple functions in a file, we call it as module. Okay, so module is simply a file which will have multiple functions and as well as classes also. We are not talking about classes in our these sessions, but you can have classes as well. So when your function has, or when your file has multiple functions, we call this file as module. So in this case, our file name is DEC2024. So DEC2024 has become a module. Okay, and you can use it to use it for your own work. Okay, we don't have to do anything extra. Okay, you don't have to perform any settings or anything extra to call it as a module. Every file by default is a module. Okay, so I have created this module, okay, because it has some functions and okay, no class but functions for sure. And I can pass this to you. So when I pass this function to you, then what should you do? And that's what I'm going to show you. So, okay, let me just remove this from here. Just give me a second. To remove that, so okay. So let's say this is your file. B106 is your file. Okay. And I gave you this file. So you have this file. Now you want to use this file for your own work. Okay. So I give you this file, you put it in the folder where your file is. And then here you say import. Import command indicates to the Python that you're going to import, some functions or some classes from another file. It's okay. Import what? I can import specific function or I can import, entire all the functions that you have in the other file. So what's the file name? Okay, the file name is automatically the module name. So you can say DEC2024. Now, if you don't like this name, you can rename it, right? Now, I liked it, so I created that name, but you may not like it. So if you don't like it, you can rename it. I can say just D. Right? So from now on, D becomes the identity of this module. Okay, so I'm going to now say D dot. Now, the moment you see D dot, remember, just like when we did list dot, we got all the methods for list. The moment I do D dot, all the variables that we had there and values that we have there, okay, has now been shown to us. Right? The moment we put dot, you can see all those things. But wait a second. Before we start using it, let's run this B106 and see if we notice something abrupt here. See, I'm calling 106 here. I'm not calling DEC2024. I'm calling 106. When I'm calling 106, then why the file is getting executed? It gets executed the moment you call, moment you import. Okay, so import will execute the commands that you have in the module. So whatever we did, these are things that we did in the module. So these are all being called in other file also. Okay. But in reality, you won't be needing, right? You won't be requiring those code. Now, if that is my program, those codes are for me, for my work. You want to do it for your own work and you'll be writing your own new code, isn't it? Then how can we avoid those codes from appearing? Okay. And learn this as the best practice, guys. Okay. This is how we actually do program. Okay. So when you do any program, all the functions you can write outside, but the logic that you put, it should be within something called as a block, if block. Which if block? So I'm saying if name underscore underscore name equal to main. So what does this do? Okay. So first thing, whenever you see something double equal to before and after, like name double equal to before and after, main double equal to before and after, it means that these are inbuilt functions or inbuilt variables. Okay, they have their own meaning. Okay, so the meaning of name indicates that, the file or function or file rather, okay, which file is being called. So if you call this file, okay, this DC2029, if you call this file, then the name will be same file name. Okay. And if this is from somebody else calling, the name, let's say next, I'm going to call this file. I'm going to call December 24 from this one. So in this case, if I call from here, the name is going to be, okay, main for this, not for this. Okay. So I'm putting a condition, if name equal to main, only then you perform all this. That means if this file is run directly, that's when you perform all this. If this file is run from some other sources, let's say B106, now you see, those things are not called because the condition that we have put here has become false now. The name here is not main, name in 106 is main. Okay, so this also tells us the template that we should be using to write our Python program. So whenever you write your Python program, the first line that you need to type is if name equal to main, and then put all your logic there. Functions should be written before that. Okay, now, okay, that is not called. And if you want to call my fun1, you can very well call, because now I've given an alias here. I can say d dot, and I need to print my fun1. Go ahead and do it. And you run it. Okay, so see all those questions. Function f, the fun1, my fun1 has been executed. Similarly, you can call my fun2, right? So I go here and I say d my fun3, okay, and my fun3 takes one question, right? So I'll give question number 5, let's say. Okay. Okay, 5 is returning a value, right? 5 will return the value, correct? So I'll say ret equal to, and I go here and I say print ret, right? So ret will have the question that is returned, and question number 5 that ret has is, where do you buy milk from? Okay. Everyone, cool so far? Is it okay? Of course, as I said, okay, these are little advanced topics, so you need to spend some time practicing, but you are able to see the features of Python. How's going session so far, guys? Is it okay? Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. So we, yes. Okay. You talk to our team. Okay. We're going to start our batch soon. So our team will tell you, right? Okay. This is just to show you, how Python works. Okay. So we are going to start our next batch soon. So you can get in touch, okay, with our team, and they'll help you with the batch and date and time and things like that. Super cool. Awesome. Okay. So now we will move on to our last topic, isn't it? The last topic that we have, we are supposed to work. The last topic that, not last or last section rather, okay. Let me move these away for now, okay, so that we get some space here. Okay. Yeah. So the next section that we have is called file handling. And we need to do file handling as well as try and catch, okay? What we call as error handling, okay? So let's look at file handling first. Okay. And I think I already have some text file, which I can probably delete. Okay. Let me delete all these text files. I don't want to have too many files on my computer. Awesome. Okay, great. So we will see now how to, write a content to your file and how to read content from your file. Okay. So before we get into details of writing to a file, let's understand some components, okay, of file handling. The first component is that we can read and write to files, correct? So you have read and you have write. Okay. Now read is just one mode, read, right? And write has two mode, write and append. Okay, so read has only one mode. You want to read the content. Okay, so you read the content. Great. Okay. If you want to write, you can write it or you can append it. So when you say write, it means that you want to remove, okay, delete previous content and add new one. And when you say append means write over the previous content, okay, without losing the data. So sometimes you might have to, overwrite it. Old data is old. You want to save it with new. Then you do it using write. Okay. Now, okay, if you talk about mode of operations, so you have read, which is only for read, write only for write, A only for append. Now you also have R plus. R plus is read and write. W plus is write and read. And A plus is append and write. Oh no, write is done, right? Read. So tell me what could be the difference between read and write and write and read? Read first, write later, and write first and read later. What could be the difference? Okay. The main difference is for read, file has to be there. What do you mean by read? You need to have something to read, isn't it? So file has to be there. File has to be existing. Write and read need not be. File need not be there. It creates new file. Okay, it creates new file. Okay. So let's see this. So, okay. And you need to open and close the file. So first you open the file, you perform RWA, R plus W plus A plus whatever, and then you close the file. Now, when you read, there are three types of read that you have. You have read, which reads entire content. You have read line, which will read only one line. Okay. And then you have, okay, read lines, where you read more than one line, or you read the line as in, as lines. Okay. Write has write, where you can write entire stuff. Write lines, where you can write multiple lines. Okay, so let's see an example. Let's say I have a text here called, okay, multi-line. Yesterday we discussed multi-line. You can put it using triple quotation. So let me write a multi-line text. I'll say, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Okay. So this is simple text. And now if you see here, okay, I want to create a file name called abc.txt. Okay. You don't see any abc.txt, isn't it? So I'll say file name equal to abc.txt. Okay. If you don't give path, okay, complete path, it will create the file where your Python file is. If a Python file is in the same location, it will create this file in the same location. If you don't want it to create in the same location, if you want to create in C drive, D drive, E drive, then you give the complete path here. Okay. I'll just save it here itself. So I'm not giving path. So let's see this here. I need to first open the file, correct? So file handle. Okay. This will give us the handle to the file. I'm going to say open. Open. Open file. So file name. Okay. So I'm giving the file name. Okay. In the same location where my file is Shamana. Okay. I have not given it. So it will save in the same location where this B10 file is. So you should be able to see on my Explorer here on the left. Okay. So file name. So I have my file name here. And the mode that you want to open in. Let's say I want to open in a read mode. So I'll say R. Okay, when you open the file, you're supposed to close it. So I'll say file handle.close. And all our logic will happen, all our magic will happen between open and close, right? Now see, I'm creating a file abc.txt. Do you have abc.txt here? No. So if you don't have abc.txt and when you try to run this file, okay, you get error, file not found, no such file exists. So this is what I said. If you want to read a file, file has to be there. But let's say I want to read this. I'll say W. Okay, no error. And you see, ABC file is created now. Because when you open in write mode, if file is there, it will read the file. If the file is not there, it will create a new file. Okay. So done. So I have created this file, abc.txt. We just now created it. Now we can write some text into it. Okay, I want to write some text into it. So I'm going to say here, file handle dot write. And then you give your text here. So text I'm giving is txt. Okay. And I'm going to run it. Okay, there's something here. I need to close this file, right? Okay. Back to this program here. Okay. So I have opened the file in write mode and I have written some text here. Now let me run this B105. Okay. Now you go to abc.txt. You see, twinkle, twinkle, little star, I wonder what you are is printed here. Okay, I go to B105 again. I'm running it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Let me do it 2 more times. 4 and 5. You go to ABC, what happened? Same content, isn't it? Because it rewrote every time. So you see, it is same content here. Okay. Now, if I put this in A mode, append mode, and now if I run it, what happens? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go and see here. You see that? It has written it 5 times. So twinkle, twinkle, what you are, and then another from here itself. If you want to bring it to the next line, okay, we can go here and we can hit enter, okay. And first, let's run it in W mode so that the entire content is deleted. And then you can put it in A mode, and then you can run it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see, now they're in different line. Okay, now let's say I want to read this. Okay, let's say I want to read the entire content here. So to read this entire content, so I've opened in A mode, right? I'm only append mode. My intention is only to add. Now, if I try to read what happens, okay, if I try to read, okay, so I'm going to say output equal to file handle dot read, okay, and okay, I want to print it here, but let's see, okay, I'll say print out content from the file, content from the file /n, and I'm going to say output. Okay, let's run this and see what happens. Error. Not readable, unsupported operation, not readable. It's not readable because we opened in append mode. A is only for appending, not for reading. If you want to read it, then you have to open in A plus mode. Okay. Now, when you do it, absolutely no problem. Content from the file, but what happened to the content? Why the content is not printed? Okay. So remember one concept here. Okay. Let's say I tell you, okay, I give you a book. I say, go to, write, in this book. Where will you write? You will write at the end of the page, isn't it? Wherever the place is, the last page available. So when you do append here, it went to the last line and appended this. So you appended here and you are here. Okay, at line number 17, you are there because you appended, you wrote, and you are line number 17. Now I'm asking you, read the content. What is there to read here? You are at the last position. There's nothing else to read. That's why when I say read here, it gives nothing because it is already at the last line. There's nothing else to read there. So I need to bring it back. I said, okay, read from start. I have to say read from start, and that's what seek will do. Okay. Seek will say, move through your content. So I'm going to say here, before we do that, I'm going to say file handle dot seek 0. I'm saying go to the beginning. Go to the beginning means seek 0. And now when you run it, you see entire content is read from here. This is how you can read the content from a text file. Once you read it, it's all your logic that we have been doing it for last 2 days. You can use all those methods and functions to handle the data. Okay, so I'm taking pause for 20 seconds. Let me know if everything is clear. Any questions? And then we will move on to our next topic, the last topic of the day, which is exceptions and error handling. Okay, but all good so far, guys. Nice. You guys are nice. No questions. Great. Of course, okay. When we do the main course, we'll be doing in lot more detail with lot more examples, right? And with lot more different ways of doing stuff, right? We will see it in a multiple ways of doing stuff. Okay, so let's get into the last topic, which is error handling. What is error? Okay, now in programming and also in Python, we have three types of errors. Okay, the first type of error is called as syntax error. Okay, syntax errors are errors that occurs when you don't follow the rule. So I tell you, okay, print is a function and print has to be followed with simple bracket open and close. This is a rule. Okay, now when you run it, it will, okay, I need to run this file, right? Okay, so it printed blank line. But what if you don't follow the rule and you forget to give the closing bracket? This is called syntax error. Syntax errors are about mapping, doing the rule, right? So if you don't follow it, your program will not execute. Okay. And Python being very nice, easy to use programming language, they also have very good error messages. It will tell you where the error is, okay, where the error is, and sometimes or many times, in fact, almost all the time, it'll tell you what the error is also, where and exactly what error. So it says in print, you never close the bracket. So oh, okay, line number 6, I need to go to line number 6 and I need to close the bracket. Okay, it gave us line number, where and what error. Okay, and the solution also. So you can go and fix it. This is called syntax error. Okay, very easy to find because Python will give it to you. Okay, and then it will even tell you what to fix, and you can easily fix this error. Okay, so there is no special skill required apart from learning what we are doing. Okay, so as you learn more, you'll be able to handle and fix this syntax error. Second type of errors that we have are called as logical errors. Logical errors are when you make mistakes with the error, logic. Mistakes with logic. That means, okay, I give you 5 fruit, okay, and you already have 6 with you. Then how much you should have? Okay, it should be 5 plus 6. But let's say by mistake you made it as minus. It's your mistake, isn't it? You by mistake you did it. So computer will not know that there is a mistake here, right? If you do plus, it'll give you plus sign. If you do minus, it'll give you minus sign. It will not come to know whether it should be plus or minus here. So that you need to handle it. These are logical errors, very difficult to handle, okay? Sometimes you may not even know that there's a logical error in the program, right? So very difficult and not much you can do here because, as a programmer, you are expected to know the logic, isn't it? Third type of error, and that's what we are going to do, they are called as exceptions. These are errors that occur at runtime. So they're not logical errors. Your logic is correct. They're not syntax errors. Syntax are also correct. But there's some situation occurred. There's some situation that occurred which has created an error. Okay, and you don't see that in the beginning. For example, okay, if I want to find division of two numbers, let's say, I say find division of two numbers. Okay, I give number 1 as 100, number 2 as 50, and you say print answer is, okay, and you say n1 by n2. Sounds good, isn't it? But let's say you forget and instead you gave 5 here. Okay, so this is error. So your logic is correct. Okay, syntax is correct. Just that the zero division itself is not supported by mathematics, right? We can't divide a number with 0. So these are called runtime errors. So you will only know when the program is run. What if user gives any other value other than 0, right? Even 0.005 also it will work. Only when it is 0 only it doesn't work, isn't it? They're called runtime errors. So these are exceptions. Okay. So we need to handle such exceptions. Okay. Now let's say you are asking user to enter age and you're converting the input value into integer, but by mistake user entered some text value. Right? If user entered some text value, you should be, your int will not work. Okay. So you want user to correct it before you can actually use it, isn't it? So in such case, what we do, we try to guess. Okay. The first step is that while you're doing the program, you should be able to predict, oh, here I can get an exception. What if user enters 0 in the denominator, right? So I'll say n2 equal to, okay, int of input, enter the denominator, right? And when you run it, if I enter 50, okay, answer is correct. Okay, but if I enter 0, okay, it goes for toss, right? There's an error here. We need to fix it. So in such cases, what we will do is we will, as I said, okay, while you're doing the program, you figure out, okay, this line can give error. So you write here something called as, okay, except, okay, and, okay, you need to know this value before colon. And you don't have to remember. What I do is, I know, though, okay, this line can make mistake. So I'll purposely make mistake here. I'll purposely put 0 and see, okay, what error it gets. Then go and copy this and paste it here. Okay, so except 0, which line? This line will throw except 0. Right? Now, except 0 will be thrown here in which line? This line, right? So this has to go inside your try block. So we are saying, try this. Okay, so try this. So if you get the except 0 error, then what should I do? I'll say print division by 0, okay, is not allowed. Okay, so now when you try to run it, okay, and you say 0, it's fine. It says 0 division is not allowed. But what if user doesn't enter 0? What if user doesn't enter 0 here? It is, say, 50. Okay, then this answer is printed as it is. So this is how you can handle this. Now let's say here I asked user to enter some denominator, but user by mistake entered something 2t or something. Okay, this is called value error. Okay, this is called value error. Now in value error, what we do, okay, this is the line that can throw value error, right? So you put try here, okay, inside this, and you can have except, say, value error. And what if there's error? If there's error, you can say print you have entered an invalid number, right? Hence, resetting it to 1. So you say n2 equal to 1. Okay, it depends upon your what you want to do, right? There has to be some alternative, right? There has to be some alternative, right? So here you run it. Under the denominator, I say 7ytp, anything, right? So see, no error. It says you have entered valid number, hence resetting it to 1. So 100 by 1 is 100. Now when I run it, I give 0, okay? No error. Division by 0 is not allowed. So you're able to handle the error properly. This is what we say error handling. Your program is not abruptly ending. Okay, your program is not abruptly ending. With me, everyone? So with that, we complete our 2 days workshop. I hope I've been able to give you a lot of information possible within these time, right? We just had close to 4 hours. So I tried to, give you exposure to Python as much as possible. But being a programming language, it means that you have to practice and only then will come to know. So we do have different options for you. I hand it over back to the organizers now. Santosh sir, you are there?
Yes, sir, I'm here. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your time. Thank you for your effort for taking this 2 days Python bootcamp.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. They are a nice student here. They had good questions. So, yeah,
Yeah, so
thank you.
this time basically we had a student from different countries. So Philippines, UAE, Saudi Arabia, and India. So there was a great coordinations. Thank you all for your time. And in case of any questions from anyone related to the Python, related to the topic that we have covered, you can raise your hand. I'll unmute and then we can have a question and answer sessions. Anybody wants to ask any question? You can raise your hand. I'll unmute you. We can talk. Or even let me allow to unmute. You can unmute yourself now. I have given access to everyone, so you can unmute yourself now, and then we can have a kind of a quick discussions. Also, as sir mentioned that okay, so this is the bootcamp like where we have covered in 2 days high level topic about the Python. In day one we covered few topics. In day two we covered few topics. But along with that, we are also going to start our full Python course. That will be for the 6 weeks. We will be covering everything in detail about the Python. So, sir, can I share my screen quickly for the entire team here?
Yes, sir. Over to you. I'm stop sharing.
So this is the Python prospectus that we'll be sharing with you. So you will have better understanding about more about the Python. Anyways, we have already covered in 2 days like what is Python and then the what is the basic in Python. But this is the detail that will be shared. This is the prospectus that will be shared with you for a Python, so where you can get the fair idea why you need to learn Python, what exactly you can do with the Pythons, what are the career guidance, how you can plan your career in future. So everything, all the details are mentioned in this prospectus that you can go through that details. And then the 6 weeks Python courses that we are talking about, the content for that 6 weeks Python course you can see here that will be covering. So maximum all the topics that will be covered, which will be required uh, to plan your career from a data analytics perspective, from a data science perspective, from AI perspective, and from a web development or automation. So anywhere if you want to take your career, then you can go through this Python course. So this is the duration of this course is 6 weeks. We will be covering everything from start to end and all the topic in detail. And also like this course majorly we have designed for the uh, uh, working professionals, beginner students, and anybody who wants to plan their career in the data science, data analytics, machine learning, and AI part. So these details will also share with you. You can go through that details. And then another advantage of the 6 weeks course is that we are offering this 6 weeks course on almost 50% discount. So that details will also share in a group or in one-to-one where you can get the details about the overall the price that we are going to offer for this course. So the charge for this course is somewhere around 6,000, 5,000 in a market, but we are going to charge as a discounted price is 2,499 in USD $30. Yeah. So this is a special discount that we normally offer for our boot camp students. Whenever we conduct a boot camp, then after that we conduct the final or our full Python course. And this Python course we are going to start from coming Wednesday. So 12th of December, this boot camp or this final course or full course will be starting. And you can enroll in next 1 or 2 or 3 days if you want to go for this full course. And again, the timing will be communicated because as I mentioned, the timing will be very much flexible because we know that there are many working professionals join this boot camp. And accordingly, we will decide the timing, morning batch, evening batch. Even you are not from India, so we will ensure that your time and is decided as per your convenient morning time, and evening time. And also we have a weekend batch as well. So like for a working professional, we conduct the weekend batch where we conduct like around 6 to 7 weekends. We conduct each weekend or each Saturday and Sunday we uh, conduct this course for 3 hours each day. So all the details we'll share in a group. You can decide, you can plan, and if you want to enroll on this 50% discount for this full course, you can get in touch with us. You can enroll for this full course that is starting from coming Wednesday, 12th of December. So all the details, payments link, course content, why you want to join, why you need to join, everything, all the details will be shared about this course as well. So any questions related to this course content, the discounted price, or any suggestions, like any suggestion from anyone that we can also discuss. Yeah. And as we mentioned, beginning of this bootcamp, we'll be sharing the two link. Okay, so one the feedback link and another the test link. So you can provide your feedback and also you can appear in the test. Okay, and as I mentioned, as we had mentioned, highlighted, this is another exciting point or rewards. Basically, we can say that. So the top 5 performers from that test, the test that we are going to conduct after this bootcamp. So the top 5 performer will be awarded with a special gift vouchers along with the certificate. Anyway, certificate will be issued to everyone who has joined. But yes, top 5 performer will be awarded with a special gift and also will announce their name, their score, everything in the group as well. Yeah. So join that test. Okay, complete the test on time. So link will be shared in sometime today. So complete the test by today if possible. So we can evaluate the result from tomorrow and we can also share complete details in the group. So this is all about us. Any questions from anyone? Anything you want to know more detail? Then you can let us know.
Hello, hi, this is Siguna.
Timing definitely will share the time as I mentioned. So the time I can see someone has mentioned I want to grow in a data analytics charge for the course. So why we do not prefer first we can go for a data analytics and data science because the path for data analytics, data science or AI or machine learning is Python. So first learn the Python. Uh, just see whether you are how much you are comfortable in this 6 weeks Python course because in the 6 weeks Python course will be covering all the topics in detail. And then accordingly, you can decide whether you want to go for a data analytics, whether you want to go for a data science, or whether you want to go for a AI or machine learning. Yeah. So start your coding journey from Python. Spend your 6 weeks time in this Python course, and you can see the charge for the Python course is nothing, right? $30, 2,000 in INR is nothing, right? It's a very minimal cost. So spending minimal cost 6 weeks, you can decide whether you want to grow your career in the data science or data analytics or automation side as well, because Python with the Django is another like very demanding skill nowadays in the market. Then the Python you can use for the automations as well. So first you spend 6 weeks time in a Python and then you can take a decision. Yeah. I missed yesterday sessions. Will we share the recording? We'll see, because as I mentioned, the recording we normally do not share for the bootcamp. Normally we share the recording for the full class. So for that, I'll have to check with the management team whether we can share the recording or not. Yeah. I can see few more questions related to the timing. So timing definitely, like as I mentioned, timing will be very much flexible for the 6 weeks course, and that will let you know in the group. Yeah. Any other questions from anyone? Any other questions? Because you can also unmute yourself, you can talk, and any feedback about the bootcamp, about the content that we had designed for the bootcamp, anything about the trainer, anything about the mentor, anything about the management team as well. So anything that you want to talk, you can give us feedback. We will take that feedback as a constructive way, and we'll try to improve in upcoming bootcamps as well.
Excuse me, sir. Hello.
No question on the sessions. Bootcamp was great. Thank you, Sumera. Any bootcamp we have for the data? Sorry, I missed that questions. Let me read out the questions. Okay. So any bootcamp we have for the DSA using Python? Not yet. We haven't planned any bootcamp for the DSA using Python, but definitely in future we'll plan and we'll let you know. So like whenever we plan any bootcamp, so currently like we are focusing more focus on the Python, then the data science, data analytics, AI, machine learning, and then the Python automations as well. But for the Python DSA, we will let you know if we plan any bootcamp. Yeah. Can we
Hello,
get the
sir.
coding snippet discussed in the 2 days sessions? For that, I'll have to check, because this is the bootcamp that we conduct on a timely basis, and we request a student to join this 2 days bootcamp. Okay. So you can be attentive, you can like go through the details that we normally cover, and that's why basically we do not share any recording, any content for, because this is a 2 days bootcamp, nothing, right? So we discuss at the very high level, and sharing any details very high level, that will confuse you further. So that's why basically we avoid sharing any details for the boot camp. Okay, but in case of any specific request, we can discuss in one and one. Yes, definitely you'll be getting a certificate for this 2 days boot camp, and as I mentioned, also we are going to conduct a test for this boot camp, and top 5 students will be also awarded with a special gift along with the certificate. So certificate will be provided for everyone. And top 5 students will be getting some special awards as well. Yeah. So yes, certificate is applicable. You'll be getting a certificate. Yes, we have recorded uh, all the attendance, the durations for the last 2 days for all the students, all the participants. Any other questions? So questions from Chirag. Then last question was from Chirag. Any other questions from anyone? Okay, so I think what we can do at last, you can start your video. We can take some screenshot, okay, for our reference, so that we can also for our track. Okay, so if possible, like can you start your video, everyone? The request, everyone, start your video. Yeah, so quickly we can take a picture. Yeah, I can see Meenal, I can see Rohit, I can see Anand. Yeah, quickly everybody, you can share your video so we can take a picture for this batch. I'm capturing few pictures here. Yes, I can see many faces here. So let me take picture. Thank you. And yeah, I've taken picture. Thank you for your time. So as I mentioned, like all the details we'll share in a group, and definitely like in case of any questions, we are also sharing 1 hour like contact numbers that regularly we share in a group. So if you want to talk to us in one-to-one, and if you want to any more details, then you can call us on a WhatsApp. You can call directly on any of the number, two number normally we share in a group. So you can call, you can connect at any point of time, then we can discuss. And also if you want to know anything, or if you want us to set up like one mentor as well, okay, so we also flexible to set up a guidance. So Swapnil sir, like Dr. Swapnil sir, like has almost around, right? Hello, yes, please. You wants to, anybody wants to speak anything? Sorry, your voice is not clear, Manjunath. If you are speaking, okay, okay. And then also like we are flexible in a such way that, okay, if you want to connect with our mentor as well, like for a career guidance. So as I mentioned, Dr. Swapnil sir has almost 20 plus years of experience in IT. And then he has guided many students in terms of the career planning, then how and where that person can start and take that career. If the person is not from IT background, or like doing something else. So we can also conduct a sessions. If you can request, then we can conduct a sessions. You can connect with our mentor as well. Yeah. So there are many mentor associated with us. Okay. So we conduct a session on a regular basis for a career guidance, and then you can have a session with the mentor, and then accordingly you can plan for the career as well. So I think we are done for the today's sessions, and all the details will be sharing in a group. Okay, so the feedback form will be sharing in a group, test form will be sharing in a group, and also we'll be sharing detail about the full Python course that we are going to start from Wednesday. Okay, with the registration link, you can register, and then you can join us from Wednesday if you want to uh, 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 deep dive in the uh, Python complete course. Yeah. Attendance, we have already tracked the attendance, Rohit. Okay, so we are closely tracking attendance, who has joined, who has not joined, and even like who has joined, but how much time also spent on the boot camp through the Zoom link, and then accordingly we will share the certificate. So if there is any other question, we can take the questions. If not, then thank you very much for your time, yesterday's and today's time, and you can watch the, or you can monitor this WhatsApp community for further details here.